An app that I really like for road trips is called Plugshare. It's free on Android, iPhone. They have a website. Covers all of the US and I think other countries too. It does cover other countries too. Not that it really matters because you're not going to drive your car over the ocean. But what's cool about it is it shows you all the fast and slow chargers between where you're at and where you're going. So whenever you first download the app, you got to create a free account. If you want any of it to be saved, it will ask you to put in your car. And then you'll get to this page and you want to go to filters here. And you want these two. This one's the slow charger that's at some hotels and free locations that you need the adapter for. This one is the Tesla charger for fast charging or slow charging. So superchargers or a hotel charger or somewhere that might be free would have these. So you want both of those highlighted. Everything else should be unchecked. Hit view. And then if you know the location you're gonna go to, give or take, you can search it in advance, which keep getting the wrong address copied here when I'm going to start the video. So let's say we're gonna go to this area here, and we're gonna click that one because that's the right address. And as you can see, there is no charging icons anywhere around the bubble. Uh, Within walking distance. There is a few in the city, but they're all green, which means they're slow chargers. This one is a hotel, so if it was close enough to where you were wanting to go, you could actually use this one to charge at every night. They have 3 plugs, so there's a pretty good chance of one being open. And then you would be fully charged for going home, and you wouldn't have to stop at a charger at all. But because you're not within walking distance of a charger, that just means you got to make a stop along the way, more than likely. So the next thing you'd want to do, uh, once you know for sure you're going to go on the trip, is I would plan a trip by going to the Trips tab and hitting the plus icon in the top. I'm going to put the destination in first since I already have that copied. I'm going to do the uh, starting address is this one. That's nearby where I would want to take off. And you can see that it maps out your whole thing just like a normal GPS would. And it even gives you alternate routes, which in this case there's only 2. Usually they give you 3. But they're just saying there's 2 ways you could go through Nashville that might make sense where you're coming from. Either way, could be fine. You could go a totally different way if you wanted uh, to navigate Nashville. You don't have to follow the GPS. It's just giving you an idea. Now you'll see, the first thing in this top corner is it's going to be 140 miles away. Your car's rated for about 320-ish miles if the weather was perfectly about 70 degrees outside and you were driving 65 miles an hour, you'd probably actually make the 320-mile mark. But anytime it's hotter or colder, or you're driving faster, that range goes down. So real world's probably closer to 280 when it's good weather. When it's really cold outside, your car could go down to 150 miles between needing to charge. And so you just got to keep that in mind. The car will warn you if you're not going to make it to your destination, and you can follow Tesla's predetermined route when you're in the car and actually driving. I just like using PlugShare because it gives you an idea of what you're getting into. So again, we're going from Nashville area down to Decatur, Alabama. And so what we're looking for, let me change the filter here. We're gonna get rid of these slow chargers for a second. Just, oops, did I hit the, oh, forgot the Teslas have fast or slow charging too. So we have one charger here, one over in Huntsville, which we don't want to drive to. Then we have sorry, one in near Athens, one near Cornersville, and then several around the Nashville Brentwood area. So if it looked like you could get enough range to go all the way back, you could stop to charge here just enough to get home. But I bet you're going to want to stop in Athens when you're on the way there, so I'm going to add that to the trip. It happens to be at a Fairfield. So this is why I like Plugshare. This one tells me that it's got 8 charging stalls and it's 150 kilowatts and it's at a hotel. The Tesla app doesn't necessarily give you those details. It will tell you the same things. Let me find it. They'll show you the amenities, but they don't always say where it's at in the Tesla car app. So the other option you could do if you were hungry halfway there for whatever reason, this one's at a travel stop. It's a faster charger, and it's got a McDonald's nearby. So you could actually walk to the McDonald's from the chargers while the car is charging on your way home, if you waited to charge till your way back or you wanted to charge on your way back. So that's kind of nice to know. It's also nice to know that this has 24 stalls available. And because it's a travel stop, the bathrooms might be open late. Um, but either way, picking Athens is our thing. We're gonna add it to the trip, and it's gonna ask you for a name. I'm just gonna save it with the default name. I will say once you save it with the name, it's saved that way forever and you can't change it. So normally I say like from my house to my brother Chris's house or something like that. But it's going to tell you with your stop added how far between your starting location to your first stop, and then from your stop to your destination or your next stop. Uh, and it's kind of nice to know. So really you're only 20 miles away from the charger when you're here, so you only need about 15% probably left on the car to make it there with 2% left in the car. Which is not great, but as long as you stay above 20% while you're in Decatur, you should have plenty of charge to get back to Athens if you had to, or you could wait to charge in Cornersville here, which is 83 miles from the start of the trip. So 140, that's about halfway through your trip, so it's a good spot you can stop. So just knowing those things in advance can help you have some comfort with where you're going, what you're doing. And this is the way I do it for every trip, especially multi-hour trips. If it's less than 100 miles, you could literally just charge the car to 100%. Go there, do whatever you want, drive all the way back, and then charge when you get home and not even think about it. But anything longer than that, I go through this process and kind of decide where I'd want to ideally stop. And then if we have to use the bathroom by the time we get to Brentwood, even though we're only 30 minutes away from our house, I might charge up a little just because that 10 minutes of being off the road, you're doing something anyways. Same thing with Cornersville. You might uh, be an hour into the trip and somebody's got to pee, so you stop there and charge up and you skip going to the Fairfield you were gonna do because you don't need to anymore. And then on the way back, you just charge there again, or if you can make it all the way to Brentwood, you could try it. Just be careful. Make sure you got about a 30% buffer of what it says you're gonna be at when you reach this destination from about when you're there, because there's no chargers in between. So that's the time you can't get your mileage wrong, or you're gonna be going like 40 miles an hour to try to make it to your destination. So I hope this helps, and yeah.